we come to you with official confirmation that Josh Fraser has been appointed the senior coach of the Carlton Football Club for the next 3 years, following what has been a remarkable audition in the role as interim coach since taking over from Michael Voss.
Have you ever heard the MCG like that? Are you kidding me? Yeah, are you kidding me? The Carlton gods must be crazy.
Hey Baggers, Frase here. Really excited to be your new senior coach. I want to take a minute to thank you all for your enormous support. I appreciate it. I know our players appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to what lies ahead. Go Blues.
Hello and welcome back to Bluebaggers Edge. Now, this is a bloke who has an impressive body of work in various roles and at multiple clubs spanning, I think, around about 12 to 14 years. After being drafted with pick 1 by the Pies back in 1999, he went on to play 218 games, collectively 200 for the Pies and 18 for Gold Coast. Then, post on-field career, his first coaching role came in the NEFL, coaching Gold Coast reserves across 2 seasons in 2014 and 2015. Now, this was crucial as it gave Fraser the ability to be thrown into the deep end and manage his own team as its head coach, responsible, of course, for running a team and developing players underneath an AFL program, as opposed to, the traditional pathway where, a lot of coaches go into assistant coaching as a line coach at an AFL club. Now, the following season, he returned to Victoria and became a development coach in his first stint at the club at Carlton and coached the Northern Blues across 4 seasons. In 2020, unfortunately due to COVID, he was forced into redundancy, but returned as senior coach of the Northern Bull Ants across the 2021 and 2022 seasons. From 2023, he then returned to the Pies in a head of development role alongside being the VFL side's senior coach, and then transitioned into a development role more full-time in 2025. And that leads us to where we are now, with Graham Wright luring Fraser back to the club as our forwards coach, and of course, the rest is history. Now, the key amongst that is his various stints as head coach of a total 4 VFL sides, or VFL NEFL sides, I should say, all of whom had very different list makeups, with some being total rebuilds and others pushing for finals. You then combine that with his various coaching roles in development, and it paints a picture of someone who has the experience and understanding of how to not only coach a senior team, but most crucially, develop young talent, which is, of course, a stage of development that this Carlton team is currently in. Since taking the reins as interim coach, Fraser has had an impeccable win-loss ledger, as we know, with 10 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses from 13 games, which has featured some notable scalps along the way against quality sides in Geelong and Brisbane, which was, of course, that smashing, which makes it even better. His ability to transform us over the course of 13 weeks truly needs to be studied. We were 1-8 when he took over, and it was really only that lucky round 1 win that Voss had against Richmond that separated us from being bottom of the table. Fast forward to now, and we're sitting 11 wins, 1 draw, 10 losses. We're in positive win-loss ratio and secured an unlikely wildcard spot. It's the equivalent of being 2 sets and 5 games down in the 3rd set of a tennis championship final and facing a championship point, but somehow finding the belief to fight back and win the championship trophy. It's stuff miracles are really made of, and Frase has delivered that in spades. At no point, being 1-8, did we ever think we would have a chance to make a wildcard spot. Not in our wildest dreams, sitting in the depths that we had descended to. Now, I joked in a recent live stream with Atush, of course, the great man from his channel at Only Carlton, go and check him out, that if Josh Fraser somehow turned water into wine, I honestly wouldn't be surprised, because nothing will top what he's been able to do with our side in such little time. Firstly, in truly marveling at how he has transformed us, let us briefly discuss and unravel it all, how he has done so structurally, strategically, and tactically. Now, it's evident in the way we now play. He's molded us into a team that can only be described as having been revolutionized. We cut the angles, pick off 45-degree kicks, change the lanes, switch the play when identifying an avenue forward on the fat side of the ground, and we most crucially use the corridor. And move the ball with speed. It's the complete opposite style to what Voss was trying to achieve. The old win at the contest and then don't plan beyond that, aside from avoiding the corridor, hugging the wings, kicking down the line, and employing a full ground press, both offensively and defensively. And what Frase has cooked up is truly electric and is an offensive style that is built off confidence and teamwork, lateral running patterns providing avenues and options, and it's culminated in a side playing with confidence and above all else, belief. A belief that Fraser has reinstilled into a playing group which was completely devoid of it under our former coach. And what about the number of youngsters that have not only broken into the side under Fraser, but who have also elevated their game and become regular contributors in our best 23? Led none better by the likes of Taylor Byrne and Billy Wilson, of course, Jagger Smith, and our other youngster back in defence there, the hot-headed Harry Dean that we love. We'll give them a bit of a brush aside because we all know they are filled with talent. But these two guys to break in, tooling away in the VFL for seasons on end in Billy Wilson and Taylor Byrne in half a season, was able to make his spot in our senior team and do it with gusto. And then we turn our attention to our senior players who have recaptured their hunger and consistent form. Cripps, Walsh, Harry, all players who dropped their heads and were completely devoid of confidence and form under Michael Voss. Then we have the new recruits in Haywood, Florent, and Ainsworth. All were being seen as potentially failed trade-ins due to their combined poor form. And now they are all consistent contributors and proving, I think, Moneyball pickups in terms of what we gave up for them. It's evidence that not only has Fraser been able to extract the best out of the team as a collective, but also, most crucially, as individuals. Now let's delve a little bit deeper and turn our attention to the stats side of things and have a quick look at a comparison between the Voss-led side and Fraser at the helm, as the stats truly lay bare the impact that Fraser has had in just 13 games. As we said, in terms of win-loss, under Voss, we were 1-8. Fraser has us 11, 1, and 10. And we've also elevated our offense with a greater score on the board from week to week, averaging 89.6 versus 80.3 under Michael Voss for a positive 9.3 differential per game. And in terms of our defensive work, however, that is where he has completely revolutionised our side with an average of 75.7 points conceded a game compared to 101.3, an incredible difference of 25.6 less points being conceded from week to week, or in percentage terms, 25% fewer points conceded. And our average margin has gone from a negative 21 points under Voss to now positive 13.9. Combining both of those, offensive and defensive metrics, we have a positive 34.9 points per game improvement in average margin under Fraser in just, again, 13 games. Remarkable. Now let's have a quick look at some of the records and key milestones that Fraser has been able to help us achieve, again, in 13 games, which, again, we're not going through the entirety of it all. There are some others that we have left off, but these are the ones that stick out to me. So first and foremost, against Brisbane, as we know, 16 individual goal kickers in that game, which was a club record and equal most in the league. 154 points against Brisbane in that same game, which was our highest score since 2012, over 14 years ago. Fraser's 7 consecutive wins, of course, since taking over from Voss, was the equal most by an interim coach, the last being, coincidentally, Fred Elliott, who did it for us over a century ago when he took over from Jack Worrell mid-year. Then, against the Eagles, we had every player having at least 10 disposals or better, which we haven't had since 2010, which points to the even contribution by our best 23, and, again, that game plan of even ball use, maintaining possession, and having an impact across the board. In this same game, we also had 244 disposals in the first half, which was a club record. Then, dating back to 1999, of course, that was when Fraser was drafted back with the number 1 pick, there have been 26 teams that have sat with a record of 1-8 after 9 rounds. And the highest finish of any of those 26 teams was 14th. And of course, we've obviously smashed that. Alongside our 1-8 start, we had Richmond and Essendon equaling that win-loss ledger. And just for some context, they will both finish 17th and 18th, respectively. Of course, there are more stats that we could delve into, and we will in good time, but Fraser has been the stabilising force we've been searching for. His outlook, approach, and temperament is one of the endearing features that I do love. whether it be how he handles himself at a press conference or every time they cut to him sitting in the box on game day, looking ultra calm and almost nonchalant. And as Rob Priestley said in the members' first email, he's humble, he's calm, he's innovative, and has an incredible club-first approach. This is a bloke who is born to be a leader and, as we've seen, get the best out of the team. It's an era of, as I said, humbleness, authenticity, and care for the side. He's softly spoken, never looked fazed by the moment, and you can tell the players absolutely appreciate him and his approach and love him as a person, most crucially. And he has an elite set of standards. We saw that as recently as the game against the Dogs, seen on the broadcast when the final siren of the Dogs game sounded. He sat in the box and said to his assistants, our performance was shit. It was shit house. And yes, we may have got the draw that helped secure our wildcard spot, but amongst all of that, he is looking at the bigger picture. He is driving standards and holding account of the team and by extension himself as the coach. I just loved seeing that. No more smiling through press conferences and cherry-picking favourable stats and ignoring the glaringly obvious bad ones as Voss did. Just raw honesty, and it doesn't get more honest than seeing Fraser's reaction in the box. Now, in summary, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? And theorise, really. But was Graham Wright's long game, after all, bringing across Josh Fraser in the off-season as someone he saw as a potential successor to Michael Voss? The media made to believe the replacement had to come externally. But was this the contingency all along, hidden right under our noses? It's akin to playing chess, and what today culminates in is a checkmate, if that is the case from Graham Wright. Just incredible. We all knew that Graham Wright was the man for the job. He would lead us to getting the right man for the job. Many people were asking for Michael Voss to be sacked heading into the 2026 season, but perhaps this was the plan all along. But either way, I am stoked Josh Fraser is now officially our senior coach for the next 3 seasons and beyond that. Let the Frase craze begin. But as always, let us know your comments in the comment section below if you are watching us on YouTube. What do you think? Was this actually the plan all along from Graham Wright? Was Josh Fraser cherry-picked as that successor to Michael Voss? Of course, Graham Wright worked with Josh Fraser at Collingwood, so it kind of makes sense. It adds up. Or is it just coincidental? We'll let you decide. Let us know in the comment section down below. And of course, just more generally, your thoughts. We all know about his impeccable performance as our interim coach. But what about as a person? I think he has the right demeanour, but also the experience and knowledge across the journey post-playing career to really keep us in good stead and hopefully lead us to the promised land. Don't forget, having said all that, to like, subscribe, and click the hype button as well if you are watching us on your mobile device. It helps catapult this video and, of course, our channel into the top 100 for the sports category. So we do thank you in advance if you can help us with that. And if you are tuning into the audio podcast, don't forget to give us a follow, give us a rating and review, because I don't think we've actually had a rating or review across Spotify or Apple Pods. So again, if you can help us get off the mark, that would be absolutely incredible. And thank you again from a fellow bagger. Well, ladies and gents, I'm absolutely stoked. I don't know about you, but it's time. The new frontier, the Fraser frontier. Until next time, go Baggers.
Have you ever heard